Welcome back to the channel. My name is Matthias. Today, we're still stuck in the Krakoa era. We're going to be there for a while. And we're going to talk about X-Men issues 7 and 8, written by Mr. Duggan. And I'm really loving his run on this series. He does a fantastic job. He really focuses on the characterization of each member of the team. In the first issue, we have Dr. Stasis, who was like the big villain in the shadows since the beginning of the relaunch of the series. He's really giving off high evolutionary vibes. And the funny thing is that in the previous story arc, we actually had the X-Men dealing with the high evolutionary. There is a reason for this, because further down the line, when we discover who is Dr. Stasis in the first place, he's sort of tied to the high evolutionary's past. So the main premise of the story is that Cyclops, he was killed on a mission very publicly, dealing with this attack that Dr. Stasis was doing on a city, because it seems that he suspects that the mutants on Krakoa have some type of resurrection process. So he had set up the situation where he's going to kill one of the most high-profile mutants from Krakoa. So the thing is that Cyclops is killed in action, and when the series started, we already had Ben Ulrich, who was investigating the mutants of Krakoa. And he actually told Scott Summers, look, I know that you died once. I don't know how you came back to life. Now, having died in such a public way, what happens with Cyclops is that he's not going to be able to operate in the field as Cyclops anymore. Not even walk around as Scott Summers outside of Krakoa. So he's sort of screwed there. That's when they create this new alter ego to Cyclops so he can be on the missions with the X-Men. So he becomes Captain Krakoa, which I really love the design of his costume. So this first issue, I thought that Duggan did a fantastic job. But on issue 8, man, this one is really fantastic. We have MODOK, who has started to work with Orcus. And in typical MODOK fashion, he wants to run this evil experiment on this cruise ship where basically everyone on the ship starts killing each other. So it's really messed up, but the thing is that the X-Men are called into action. They try to save as many people as possible. I really love this moment in the story where we have Synch and Wolverine, Laura Kenny. They find MODOK, and we have all this chaos and destruction going on around him. And he's basically chilling out at the buffet of this cruise, and he's pissed off that the heroes have arrived before he has sat down to eat his meal. It seems that this meal at the buffet was just as important as this experiment that he's trying to run on this cruise ship. The thing is that since the X-Men have two telepaths on the team, we have Jean Grey and we have Synch, who has been calling back on Jean Grey's powers more than once during these two stories. It really strains him when he does this, but the thing is that Captain Krakoa is able to project his conscience into MODOK's mind. Scott seems to be very perplexed when he goes into MODOK's mind. He seems to want to have a normal life, a family, and kids. He's holding this barbecue, and when we see what he's cooking, it's totally grotesque. It's just a bunch of heads of the members of the X-Men. And Captain Krakoa actually asks MODOK, why do you hold these really messed up experiments? What are you going for? So MODOK explains that when you create angels, they fly away, they leave you. While monsters are easy to control, and he's able to keep them close to him. Captain Krakoa actually offers to MODOK, look, you've done many, many messed up things during your life, but I'm going to offer you a chance of redemption. MODOK actually turns it down. Then the story cuts to Scott and Synch. They're back at their home base in New York City. And we get this fantastic interaction between both characters where we had Synch very worried about Ben Ulrich, that he was going to write an article on mutant resurrection. And this is going to be a major problem for Krakoa. And Scott tells Synch, look, Ben is a good guy. You should leave him alone. And then Synch confesses that he had gone to Ben Ulrich's house, used Jean Grey's telepathic powers, and mind-wiped Ben. He tells Scott, look, I did this for the good of Krakoa, but then I realized I made a terrible mistake. because he saw the working title of the article that he was going to write, and it wasn't going to be a hit piece against Krakoa. It seemed to have a positive spin revolving around the X-Men, and when Synch sees this, he realized that he did something really, really messed up. And that's where the story actually ends. So I'm going to leave this video here. I hope you guys liked it. See you guys next time. Bye.